Are you ready for your new beginning? Are you ready for the blessings that are coming to you? Or are you tempted to go back to your old ways? Are you ready for this abundance? Or are you going to repeat another cycle, another toxic cycle? The universe will test us along our journey and put obstacles and challenges in our way. These are actually tests to see if you've learned your lessons. And when you're right on the verge of your new beginning, of all the manifestations you're about to receive, this is when the big test comes. The test to see if you're ready to receive. Or are you going to repeat another karmic cycle? My name is Angela Keary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. So along the way on our healing journey, as we spiritually awaken, we're going to be hit with challenges and obstacles. But we have to understand that these obstacles are actually lessons. They're tests to see, are we ready? They're tests to see, have we learned our lessons? And these tests can come in any shape or form, but they come loud, right on the verge of us receiving our reward. We have a choice. Do we want to push ahead, move forward on our journey? Or are we going to get tempted back into our old life? I didn't even understand that the universe gave us tests for years. And I was on my spiritual journey for at least a year, I'd say a year and a half. And I remember I stopped dating because I had an 8-year toxic relationship. Then I had another toxic relationship for a year and a half. And I was like, I'm done. I need to heal. I need to get myself back to myself. Do you know? Because I was like, no, I'm not ready. So I decided to give myself a break. And about a year and a half later, I decided, right, I'm ready. I'm ready to meet someone again. I'm ready to start dating. And I started to see red flags after red flags after red flags. And I was just like, this is another test. But I didn't realize it was another test until I remember thinking, this guy, oh my God, there's so much in common. Not realizing this is what narcissists do. He's another narcissist. And I remember saying to my friend, this feels like a setup. Do you know what I mean? There's too much in common here. He's from the same town as my ex. This feels like a setup. And she said to me, well, no, the universe will actually test you. And I'm like, what? So understanding the universe tests you, you're like, whoa. This gives you more, it makes you better prepared for those tests. If you don't know you're being tested, you're going to fail the fucking test. So my test there was, am I going to continue? Because I saw the repeating cycle. This was another narcissistic relationship. This was another narcissist. And I was literally on the verge of being pushed out of a job by another narcissist. And I had to kind of wake up. It was like, hello, Angela, see the pattern, see the fucking cycle. And that was it. I realized this is a pattern. This is a fucking test. And I decided then and there, I was like, I am done. I'm done dating. I'm waiting for my twin flame. I'd already done research on twin flames. So I kind of had an inkling that I had a twin flame. And after meeting another narcissist, I was like, I'm not dating again until I'm fully healed and until I'm ready. That was my test. And literally a month after I said that and set that intention, the universe gave me more and more signs that I was a twin flame and that I was on the twin flame path. So this is it. I passed the test and I got a reward. So right at the verge of my new beginning or of my new adventure, say, I was tested very loudly. So what does this mean? When it comes to anything that we're trying, we're on this healing journey for a reason, and it's fucking hard at times, especially when you go through that dark night of the soul. That shit is heavy, and sometimes it does feel like, would it not be easier to stay where I am? Would it not be easier to stay in this reality? Would it not be easier to stay in the life I know? But there's something inside you that kind of goes, I can't go back. I'm too far forward. I can't go back. I'm too far forward. I can't go fucking back. And you can't. Once you wake up and escape that matrix, even at the very fucking start, you're kind of going, I can't go back. I can't go back. I can't go back. Because the reality we were living in was fucking toxic. You know, it was repeated cycles. It was the same shit over and over again. And it wasn't getting us anywhere. But this is all part of it's to test our endurance on this journey. Like, in fairness, right? Okay, so for example, me, I give up alcohol, drugs, I give up dating, all that kind of stuff. This is kind of stuff that would be put in my path as temptation. Do you know, are you going to go this way? Are you going to go to this party? Are you going to reply to that text message? This kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Or am I going to wait for my twin? Am I going to stay healthy? Am I going to wait for that reward? And that's the thing, especially when it comes to staying healthy, like, you know, That one's hard. That test is everywhere. It's like, here, have some fucking food. But yeah, so for example, I'll give some examples. If you're in a relationship that's toxic and you're constantly going around in circles, and every so often you get that power within you, and you're like, I'm not putting up with their shit anymore. I'm leaving. I'm done. It's over. And then they love bomb you. Then they're all nice and put on this false mask, and you're like, oh, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe I'll be okay. Maybe they're not that toxic. And then the cycle repeats. There's your test failed. If you're deciding, this happened to me with relationships, jobs, everything. So if you're deciding this job is no longer for me, and you've been kind of half looking for a job because you're like, every so often you go into work and you have a good day and you're like, sure, it's not that bad. It's all right, like. And then the shit hits the fan again and you're like, oh, this is the reason I wanted to leave. This is your test failed. For example, as well, you could be on the verge of allowing your divine counterpart into your life, your twin flame. And right before that, you're going to be bombarded with text messages from other people trying it on. Or your ex is going to come back into your life and pretend that they've changed. And you're going to be like, oh, will I go back to this? These are all tests to see if you will be tempted back into your old reality, or are you going to move forward? This is all the tests that you're going to get. And I like, this is it. Like, you're on the verge of something new, and then this temptation comes in, and you know that little ego voice in your head is like, but would this be easier? Well, I'm sure it would be fucking easier to go back into the old reality and to stay unhappy and in this darkness forever. It wouldn't be nice, but it might be easier. Or do we stay determined and do we stay pushing forward? Like, do you really want the life that you're manifesting? Are you going to be ready for it? Or are you going to revert back to your old ways? And this comes with anything as well, like food, alcohol, drugs, the stuff that you're watching. You kind of get pulled back in. And I've done this with food. Food is one of my worst. I had a very unhealthy relationship with food. And fucking hell, the temptation is always there. And like, literally, you're like, I'll be good and I won't eat any treats for once a month. That's the way I was doing it. Well, initially it was kind of like once a week I'd have a treat, but then I'd binge all fucking weekend. That was my failed test. Then it got to the stage where I was like, all right, I'll treat myself once a month. And then it'd be like, I'd feel shitty afterwards after eating sweets. And I'm like, this is the failed test. You know what I mean? We push forward, we push forward, we push forward. And then it's like, sure, I'll try this just for a treat. I've been off it so long, or I haven't done this for so long. I'll have it one more time for a treat. And then you have it as a treat and you're like, why did I ever like this in the first place? Because it really doesn't fit with your body anymore. And, or your environment. And you're like, oh, this is why I gave it up. Or, oh, this is why I want to leave this job. Oh, this is why I want to leave this relationship, because it's fucking toxic. And, and sometimes if we fail those tests as well on the verge of something, so like a new relationship, and then somebody comes in and texts you and you're like, oh, I'll go to this instead, it's easier. It ends up not being easier. And it ends up that you'll actually attract another narcissist or another toxic cycle. This is what it's about. Like, you're going to repeat the patterns of the past if you fail the tests of your future. And that's what it is. So understand this. These are not obstacles on your journey. These are fucking lessons. These are important lessons to test your endurance. Are you tempted to go back to that old life? And that's the thing, like, so for example, even with a social life, partying all the time. You know what I mean? I love going dancing, and I still love going to concerts and stuff like that. But I'd rather go to a concert now than I would to the pub, because 90% of the people in the pub are there for alcohol and 10% are there for music. Whereas in a concert, it's the other way around. I want to be there for the music, not the alcohol. But this is the kind of test that comes back. Like, it's like, you're like tested to say, oh, what are people going to think when you're not going out? They're going to judge you. They're going to think that you're lazy, you're boring. And it's like, you have to get over that. Like, it's like, peace or revert back to your old ways. Happiness or revert back to your old ways. Healthiness or revert back to your old ways. We keep thinking that we're sacrificing our old life for this new life. And we're like, why do I have to give this up? Why do I have to walk away from these people? Why do I have to remove this from my environment? And you do get bitchy. Like, I've been bitchy on my journey. Like, I was guided to turn vegan by the universe, you know, and I was angry. I was so fucking angry with the universe for making me go vegan, but I was following the guidance, right? That was my test. And like, literally, I remember saying to myself, oh, this is funny, actually. I remember saying to myself, I have a little bit of meat in the freezer, so I'm going to eat that and then I'm going to go vegan. And then I'm like, that kind of defeats the fucking purpose here. So I went vegan as I was guided, and for at least probably 6 months, this is probably a bit longer, I was literally so angry with the universe. I was like, what are you doing making me do this? You're making me sacrifice this. And I was already after cutting down on meat. It was more the cheese that affected me, like, and chocolate. But like, you know, the dairy. But I was so angry. Every time I saw a burger on the television, I'd be like, fuck you, universe. Really angry, as if I was after sacrificing something. But then I accidentally had a bit of dairy milk chocolate, and I was like, oh, fuck, I don't want that. And then I actually sat with it and I said, I want to be vegan. You know what I mean? I wasn't forced to be vegan. I was guided to be vegan because that's what my soul wanted. So when we think of it, like, you know, when we're angry and bitter, saying, why are you making me give up alcohol? Why are you making me stop partying? Why are you making me, you know, not date? Why are you making me do this? Is stuff that's toxic. You know, we're thinking we're sacrificing these things. We're not sacrificing anything. What we're doing by taking these things or eating those things or drinking those things, we're sacrificing our fucking health. That's a fucking sacrifice. Do you know what I mean? You're not losing anything by giving up these substances or these people. You're actually gaining more power, more health, more happiness within yourself. So we have to overcome that ego sense and say, we're not being tested really. We're literally being guided. And we have to stop fighting against it. This is not a sacrifice. It's not a sacrifice to release those layers of conditioning. It's not a sacrifice to become healthy, to become happy. Do you know, so we're tempted back into that old way. We're tempted back into that old life. And I guarantee you will go back, you will relapse. You know, every time we go forward on our journey and we start doing things that are healthy or start cutting out things that aren't healthy, you will relapse. You'll go back to that temptation. You will fail that test at least once, and you'll go back to that temptation, and then you'll be like, oh, no. This is why we gave it up. This is why this happened. And I'm not angry anymore. I understand. That's when you start to pass all your tests, because you literally kind of go, what is this trying to show me? And that's the beauty of becoming self-aware on this journey and understanding these tests, is literally everything that happens. You will say, what is this trying to teach me? Is this a test? Is this guidance? Is this a lesson? So remember that. And remember this. The journey to where you are now has been fucking difficult. And the main reason it's so difficult is because of this fucking ego mind, this old belief system. This is why we get angry. This is why we get bitter. This is why we go, oh, I'll give myself a treat and I'll go back to that thing once. And then you're like, oh, this is why I give it up. You know, this is why it's the ego mind that keeps us back, you know, going back to that thing. And we do need to have that first test as a kind of going, as trying to tell you, this is why. This is why. This is why. You know what I mean? And because when we're fighting against, we're resisting against our future because our old self is trying to pull us back, it's hard for us to fathom it, really. It's like, why are you doing this? Why? You end up like a fucking child having a tantrum. It's like, why are you making me do this, universe? Why? But like, then you start to realize that test will make you realize, this is why this happened. This is why this happened. So please start to become self-aware of these tests. Don't give in to that fucking temptation. Do you know what I mean? You're on this path for a reason, and the universe is literally going to dangle your old desires in your face right there and go, here, have some more. And you are literally have a choice. You have a choice. You've come so fucking far. You know what I mean? You have learned those lessons. And if you give in to temptation, you're going to have to repeat this shit again. Not all of it, obviously, but you know what I mean? We're going to have to repeat that cycle again. So, you know, remember how hard it was to get to here. To get to here. but you're fucking here. And you're right on the verge of that magic. So don't give in to that temptation. Because at the end of the day, anything that served you in your old reality was fucking toxic. What you ate, what you drank, the people you surrounded yourself, your ex-partners, they were all fucking toxic. All of it. Not one. When you look back on your old reality after waking up, you look back on how toxic even you were being in that fucking environment. We take on the traits and we learn the behavior of our surroundings. When you awaken and break out of that, you look back and you go, ew, how was I ever like that? So don't. Remember that when these tests are coming, and remember to ask yourself, is this a test? Is this guidance? Is this for me? Is it not? Your destined path is right there at the other side of this last test. Don't let yourself down on this last hurdle. Do not. You have come so fucking far. Do not give in to the temptations of the past. It'll only hurt you more and prolong that pain. That's what it's going to do, like. And you know, I've learned that the hard way throughout the years, and I've fucking learned it the fucking hard way. You know what I mean? I was getting mini tower moments over and over again, the universe warning me, this isn't your situation, this isn't for you. Things fucking up in my life because the universe was telling me, this is not for you. I had to walk away from so much, and yes, I was angry, I was bitter, but now I see it was for my highest fucking good. And you know, I'm like, don't get me wrong, every day I think about reconnecting with my family, reconnecting with friends, but I can't. I can't because I remember how unhealthy it made me, how it depleted my emotional and physical well-being being around those people. Eating that food, drinking that alcohol, it made me feel like shit. And I remember, actually, there's another one, just a reminder. I was clearing out the bottom press and there was a bottle of, rakia. And if anyone knows, rakia, it's Croatian petrol. When I say petrol, it's alcohol, but it's kind of homebrew. It's like Irish poachine. It's fucking petrol. It's lethal. It's raw fucking alcohol. That's what it is. And I had a bottle of that in my press underneath, and I hadn't drank it, obviously. I hadn't even remembered it was there. And I remember pulling the lid off it just to smell it because I didn't know it was the rakia at the time. And I smelled it, I was like, oh! But for a split second, I remembered how potent that rakia was. And I remembered saying, I just said to myself, Jesus, remember that? Like, I could literally take a mouthful of this right now and I would be blotto drunk. And for a split second, I was tempted. And I was like, whoa. No, I haven't drank alcohol in ages. I am not. Imagine the hangover. Oh my God. No. Do you know what I mean? So this is it. This is the little test. I poured that fucking shit down the sink. Years ago, it was sacrilege to pour alcohol down the sink. You know, it was just this thing I had. It was disgusting. The smell. Oh, no. So yeah, these tests come in all shapes and forms. Like, they really do. Like, you know, and you have to learn to let go of the things that you once loved. And in actual fact, you didn't love them because the person that you were isn't real. That person was conditioned. They don't exist anymore. So just remember, any little thing, any little test, it's like if you're deciding I'm not going out for a while and then somebody texts you and says, let's go for a pint. And then you go, okay, where's your fucking discipline? Come on, like, literally 5 minutes and you're like, okay, I'll do that. Discipline, people. Self-discipline is so fucking important. So important on this journey. Say no to things that don't longer serve you. Cut those people out of your life. Do not reply to... Block your fucking ex. Don't reply to them if they fucking... I've changed. The one thing about a narcissist is they'll never fucking change. Ever. They get better at being actors and pretending that they've changed. But they will never change. Just, that's for a side note for anyone who does. And yeah, that's the quote I was trying to think of. Sometimes the universe will bring your ex back into your life, bring your ex back into your life to see if you're still stupid. Something like that. And that's a fact. Or somebody like your ex into your life to see if you're still fucking stupid. That's what it is. And this is the universal test that the universe will actually bring to you. They're fucking bringing you this shit to see if you're still stupid. And I'm sorry, I hate calling anyone stupid. That's terrible. But at the end of the day, have you learned your fucking lessons? Or are you going to go back and repeat a cycle? Learn from your fucking mistakes. Learn from your past. Know that you're on this journey for a reason. The reward might seem out of reach, but it's actually right there. And it's right there at the end of that last test. So do not fail that last test. Do not fucking fail it. You've come so fucking far. You have come so far. Do not go back into the old ways. Do not give in to fucking temptation of the past. That stuff is toxic. Sit there for a minute and remember your past was fucking toxic. Every little fucking bit of it. Everything that you consumed or, surrounded yourself with. It's fucking toxic. So don't fall for those tests. Be disciplined. Be determined. Your magic is right around the corner. And your magic is right at the other side of that test. So be strong. You've gotten this fucking far. You're right there. You're right at the fucking edge. So don't give in to temptation of the past. Do not give in to something that is going to take you out of alignment. This is your aligned path. The stuff from your past is taking you out of alignment. And those people, those things will try and suck you back down. They will delay your journey. And the one thing we do know is that there is no going back. Once you're out, you cannot go back. No matter how dark the night of the soul is and all that kind of stuff, you cannot go back. So, be strong. You can do this. You can pass those tests. So become aware of the tests, the obstacles, the challenges that the universe is presenting in front of you, because you're right at the verge of something magical. So don't fail. You can do this. You can do this. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path.